Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Damien with Rosieside Farm. We are in Zone 7B. It's the day before Memorial Day 2023, and we're here for our market garden update. So we use weed fabric, and it was put down in the spring. So there's going to be weeds growing out of the holes where we haven't planted yet. But I'm not dealing with the weeds until it's time to plant something there. It's just too time consuming to pull it up, and if I don't put something in right away, the weeds are going to come back. So starting with our second succession of tomato plants, and I put up our trellis system here, just using old fencing that we've had laying around for a long time. And these are all a combination, and all the tomatoes are a combination of beefsteak, celebrity, Carolina Gold, pineapple. We have some white tomatoes. Really too many to mention, or too many to kind of remember in this video, which is part of the reason I make the videos, because when I plant them, I go through exactly what is in each spot. Right after this succession of tomatoes, we have our squash and zucchini, which is really just for our consumption. At the market, they're very cheap, so they're really not worth the space in the garden unless you're going to eat them, and they're not worth the space in the booth. They get $1, per item. And I planted them within tomatillos. You'll see there and there empty holes. I got to put some tomatillos in, didn't bring enough over. But a pretty healthy row. There's one of the tomatillos, growing pretty well. And these squash and zucchini, a lot of times what I plant are the things that look terrible, because we do sell starts at the farmer's market. So, but they're looking pretty good now. As we get to the other, here's a tomato pruning mistake, but we're going to get to the tomatoes here in a second. So we have our row of eggplant that goes all the way down, followed by a row of peppers, followed by a row of tomatoes. And again, these tomatoes, not sure exactly what varieties are here. I have to go back and check the other video, but they're growing well. And I actually got to staking these tomatoes up before it was way too late. It's probably still a little too late. There's some growth on there that I'd rather not happen on the beefsteaks, but we're just going to live with it. Our peppers are jalapenos, black beauties, California wonders, which are yellow, red knights, which are a red bell pepper, some chocolate beauties in here. So we just want a lot of color in our garden and a lot of color on our stand. So we get over to the beefsteaks. I just pruned these and just tied them up. So you're going to see all the pruning remnants around. So just getting them tied up on this trellis. This is what I really wasn't looking for, is I'd rather have one stalk going up. I should have pruned that a lot earlier. But when I look at them, I thought I had plenty of time to prune. Then I come out here and I didn't. So it's already an established stalk, so I'm just going to let it go. All of the tomatoes have flowers on them, so that's a good sign. No flowers, no food. And these are our white tomatoes. And again, we've got flowers. This is our last beefsteak. We've got flowers on everything. Also, what's coming up are some volunteers. That's either a tomato or a ground cherry. We had ground cherries last year, so as always, volunteers find a way. In the back of the garden, it's our row of cucumbers. Now I see a flower down there on that cucumber. Cucumbers with a row of peppers next to them. And what we've gotten already this early in the season are cucumber beetles and squash bugs. So I gave it, we don't spray, we're not certified organic by any stretch of the imagination. There's a flower on the pepper plant. So we're not certified organic, but we don't spray anything other than BT. And that's really just for squash, any kind of larvae, caterpillar type thing. And it seemed to take care of the problem, but there are still some signs of the damage that was done, but they should rebound pretty well. So we move on to a little row of peppers, or extended our row of peppers, and on to some more tomatoes. And again, they're just a combination of what I said before: Carolina Gold, pineapple, beefsteak, celebrity. And here we have our golden nugget cherry tomatoes. And this row, there are a good number of cherry tomatoes, grape tomatoes, and it's not something I personally eat a lot of. So they're mostly for the market. These have not been pruned. These have not been tied up. I put the trellis up with some old fencing. So they've got a little ways to grow before they reach this trellis. I lifted it off the ground a little bit. And on to tomatoes we planted a while ago. These were the ones my wife called Big Fat Red. So if you go back to the first video, these were very small when we put them in. They're growing, doing a great job, trellised up or staked up with the bamboo that we had. On the other side are some more Red Knights, California Wonders, Lady Bell, Green Bell peppers, into our tomatoes that are caged up. And again, I've been ripping, like self-pruning, like 5 or 6 tomato plants when I come out. It's gosh, I bet you there's about 100 tomato plants, 80 to 100 tomato plants here. So pruning has become a chore, but they're growing well. I don't see, I know these are Black Krim. Oh, there's some flowers on them. And I'm gonna come out and pollinate or kind of help them along with an electric toothbrush. Might make a short out of that, stick it on our the YouTube channel so you can check that out. So I tried to make it a row of tomatoes next to a row of peppers all the way down. In our last little section, we have our okra, which is coming in. Like we replaced some of it. I'm not crazy concerned about the okra. It's fun to plant. I don't like eating it. Not necessarily a great seller at the farmer's market, but just to have some variety. And after the okra, some white eggplant that looks like it's been getting blasted pretty good by some insects. That's how it looked last year, and we produce a lot of white eggplants. So, you know, hoping they survive, hoping they come through. I have more I can put in the ground. And actually, I haven't been over here in a while. The tomatillos over here are really taking off. This is a disaster of weeds and nonsense that I'm going to take care of as I plant. Oh, here we go. Volunteer tomato plant of some kind. And I'm going to leave those volunteers right where they are, and I'll plant around them. They did all that work to get into the garden. I'm going to leave them be. So the plan coming up next couple days, get more cucumbers in the ground. Our pepper tomato to cucumber ratio is way off. I think I got 5 or 6 cucumbers in the ground, and I've got 85 tomato plants in the ground. So I'm going to build myself up a trellis, put at least another 10 cucumbers in, and see how they do. And really just trying to work on succession planning, getting things started on a weekly basis, and getting stuff in the ground so everything doesn't grow at one time and everything doesn't die at one time. But this is Damien with Roserside Farm. Check us out on our next Market Garden Update.